Good morning and welcome to the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce's Phenomenal Women virtual event. I am David Archer, the President and CEO of the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us in celebrating achievements of women around the world on this, the last day of Women's History Month. Before I begin, I want to personally thank the four phenomenal women who helped me pull this event together: Latrice Mclaughlin, Robin Curran, Tamala Lewis, and Carolina Dorado, the magician behind the Zoom. I'm excited to be a part of this phenomenal event featuring the amazing Denise Austin. She has incredible energy, as you'll see in a moment, and I grew up with four older sisters that used to work out to Denise's videos. We also have a powerhouse panel of four who will be providing their perspective on being phenomenal women in the workplace. I want to give Denise and the panel as much time as possible. So to sum up, the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce is the voice of business. Our sole purpose is to support the business community in all we do. I would be remiss without thanking our community sponsors and partners. Not only did they support this wonderful event, most are women-owned businesses. Our phenomenal partners are Gold sponsor Connecta, Silver sponsors Sylvan Learning Center, Manhattan Beach, Employer Lawyer, and Local Anchor. We greatly appreciate your support of the Phenomenal Women event and the Chamber of Commerce. Next, before I introduce our amazing host, we have a short video of phenomenal women from throughout the South Bay reciting a phrase from Maya Angelou's poem, Phenomenal Women.
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies.
I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size.
But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies.
I say it's in the reach of my arms.
The span of my hips.
The stride of my step.
It's the curl of my lips.
I'm a woman.
Phenomenally. Phenomenal woman.
That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
That's me.
Thank you to our video participants, Taylor Ryan, Lynette Chiabia, Tamala Lewis, Carolina Dorado, Maureen McBride, Jessica Acamando, Latrice Mclaughlin, Susan Bales, and Hiba Samad. Now I will introduce the super spectacular Latrice Mclaughlin. You can't use too many superlatives to introduce Latrice, so I'll let her energy and phenomenalness be the guide. Executive Director of the Connect the Community Foundation, Latrice also sits on a number of nonprofit boards and is always in the community helping out. A fun fact about Latrice, she is an accomplished soul singer and songwriter, and I understand author as well and motivational speaker. So she's a multi-talented Latrice. Take it away, Latrice.
Well, good morning. Thank you so much, David. It is an honor to be able to be here and to be amongst greatness. We are truly in for a treat today. As I know, all of you, nearly 200 people are signed up today to experience the event that is before us right now. It is my honor and distinct pleasure to introduce Denise Austin. Really, she is a woman that needs no introduction. She is a fitness icon who has helped millions transform lives as one of the most successful, recognizable health professionals for over 40 years. When I read that, when you see her, amazing, fantastic. Denise's magic touch and unparalleled impact stems from her passion for helping others live healthier lives and showing them how easily that can be accomplished without feeling overwhelmed or that it must take tremendous sacrifices. Her expertise and larger-than-life personality has inspired millions of women across several generations to make small life changes that result in big impact that keep them feeling young, fit, and fabulous every day. She is also a sought-after speaker and commentator for national media. There, she is often seen with her daughter, Katie Austin, who has followed in her mother's footsteps as a fitness expert and is transforming lives amongst millennials and Gen Z today. Ladies and some gentlemen, I am happy to introduce to you Miss Denise Austin. Denise, please join us.
Everybody, thank you, Latrice.
You're
Oh
welcome.
my gosh, I love being here. I'm from the Southbay, born and raised. I went to high school right around the corner. So it's a joy to be with all of you. And I'm here to talk to you a little about how to feel good, how to wake up happy, how to stay healthy, happy, and fit for the rest of your life. And the goal is to do it in an easy way that really is part of your life. And that's what it's all about. How to turn kind of fitness into a little more fun, and also how to eat healthier, that you don't have to go so crazy. So I'm 65 right now. I just turned 65 and all natural so far. So I do want to let you guys know that you can do it. No matter how old you are, you can feel good. Exercise, eating right, really drinking lots of water, getting a good night rest, having a good attitude is the key. A good optimistic outlook in life is so important. And I pray to you that it works. If you stick with kind of like an easy way to get fit, you can do it. And it all starts, you guys, with a good mindset, to wake up in the morning and get in a little exercise. I wake up 30 minutes earlier just so I can squeeze it in. That way I could have the whole day to work, to feel good, and not to feel bad or how am I going to squeeze it in. So I try to do it 5 days a week for 30 minutes. I've done this for 40 years. I've raised 2 daughters, so I kept fit throughout the whole time. I had an exercise TV show, some of you might have seen it on, for 24 years on ESPN and Lifetime TV. Every weekday morning. So I used to travel with my little girls, and I have a great husband. So he was very helpful throughout my career. He still is. And we're married 38 years, happily married. So the goal is balance. Balance in life is the key. It truly is. You really can do it, but not all at once. You can do it throughout your years. Some of you are young moms out there. It's hard to do it when they're young, but the balance is the key. And you can do it if you feel strong and empowered. And I believe exercise is the best preventative medicine there is. If you could just squeeze in even 10 minutes to start, you will feel so much better. Did you know that posture plays a key role in feeling good? So right now, everybody, if you're sitting there or standing there, stand up or sit up really tall. Lift your chest up, pull the abs in so you're able to pull it in. If you're standing and slouched or sitting and slouched, your tummy has nowhere else to go but pooch out. But if you sit up tall, if you stand up tall, it has a place to stay pulled in. So I'm going to be showing you some easy things that you could do at home, at the workplace, wherever you are, just to get in a little bit of toning throughout the day. So you don't have to give up the entire day. Everyone thinks I work out 2 hours and I eat just lettuce. Well, that's not true. I believe in eating well. I'm from a huge family. We love food. I eat well 80% of the time and then have my treats 20% of the time. And you could do that as long as the 80% is healthy. You're getting good, healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, walnuts. That's good for your skin, for your hair. So eating healthy throughout the day is so important. I really believe in a good morning routine. So what I like to do is get up in the morning. I do drink my coffee. I love my coffee. Can't give that up. But I do drink water first. And then I have my coffee. And water gives you kind of the energy to start mentally. And then I go right into my workout for 30 minutes. Usually 3 days a week. It's something cardio to burn fat. Burning fat from the whole body is so important, and it's good for the heart. Did you know that heart disease is still the #1 killer for all of us women? So one of the best things to do is to get moving, work on that walking, just get out there. Any kind of cardio workouts, they truly work. So if you could sustain it for 20 minutes. Then you're getting a good cardiovascular workout. It could be from walking to running, cycling, anything. As long as you get that heart rate up a little for 20 minutes, 3 days a week, you're going to keep that heart healthy as well as you can. But eating right too goes hand in hand. Then also 2 days a week, I do something for the muscles. Muscles work miracles on your metabolism. This is what I truly believe is my secret to feeling young, is keeping those muscles firmed and toned throughout the day. Whenever you can do a toning exercise, it will count. Even if it's 10 of these, I always keep my light weights right at my desk. So you should too. And you could do upper body workouts, tricep toners. You could be doing bicep curls, chest firmers, anytime, anywhere. Squeeze in some little toning exercises, because guess what? Your muscles don't know if you're in a fancy gym or in the kitchen. You could be leaning up against your kitchen counter, doing a leg lift, lifting that tushy. Look great from behind. And if you don't squeeze it, come on, tighten up that tushy. No one else will. So you need to firm up those muscles. Okay, it's all about the abdominals as we age, because as women, if we've had children, you know you have to re-educate those muscles after pregnancy. During the menopausal years, we really need to concentrate on our belly, our abdominals, our core, and it's so important. I do 3 minutes of abdominal exercises every day. And I truly believe that is the center of your whole body. Number one, it keeps your back strong and healthy. Your spine is your lifeline. Keep it healthy, keep it strong. And good strength in your core muscles will in return keep your spine nice and strong. So here's a great tip that you could do right now. Pull your tummy in. Now tighten up the abdominal muscles, tight, tight, tight for 5 seconds, and that's equal to 1 sit-up. So you could be doing this while you're on the computer, while you're picking up the kids from school in the car. They're inconspicuous exercises that you could do. Isometric exercises work. They truly do. It's tightening of a muscle and releasing it. This will get the muscle strong and help with circulation. Remember, circulation is what helps heal your body. So whenever you feel a little tired, sitting for long periods of time, you got to get up, circulate the blood. Blood circulation is what gets the oxygen to flow to the brain so you think better, become more alert. And that is the key. So throughout the day, whenever you get a chance, try to stand up. Did you know standing burns a lot more calories than sitting? So at any time you could get out of that chair, try to, throughout the day, move those muscles, move those legs, circulate your ankles, turn them, really move the muscles throughout the day, because it all adds up. And I truly believe this is what's kept me feeling young and strong through the day, empowered, like we're all here, phenomenal woman, all of you are. But I want you to feel the best that you can feel. And exercise is one of the best ways. And it doesn't take that much. And then I do a couple stretches every day. I stretch the sides of my waistline. So important to keep your spine healthy, because when your muscles are tight, it creates a lot of tension, and then it can build to a headache. Then it could build to back pain. So make sure you do flexibility, stretching. Make sure you do a little bit of toning throughout the week to keep those 640 muscles of your body strong. And then also do 3 days a week some cardio, because that's what's going to protect our heart and our cardiovascular system. And that is what keeps your heart healthy and your body free from disease as long as we can. Now, it is all to do with lifestyle. Did you know 70% of your health is lifestyle? 30% is more hereditary, but 70, it's up to you. So this is our chance as women to take care of you, so we can take care of all the other people that we have to. I know as a mom, they're still my priority. My husband and my family are always my top priority. So if I feel better, I will feel better with them. And you can actually create a healthier environment. And that's through exercise, because exercise will help you feel better. And if you could just take a 10-minute walk before dinner, did you know that 10 minutes will help speed up your metabolism, and that 10 minutes will help you feel good, also will help you not eat as much? So these are all little things that I truly have done throughout my 40 years to kind of feel better and to also keep health a priority, because it is the most important part. You could have all the money in the world, but if you don't have good health, you have nothing. So the key is to prioritize your health and your well-being. And I truly believe if you could just do a little, even if you start in the morning for 10 minutes, that'll give you your mindset to say, okay, I'm going to take good care of myself today. I'm going to eat right. I'm going to be on the right track. And it really, truly does help. I always try to think of ways to improve on my outlook in life whenever things get down. One of the best things that I do is gratitude. Think of all the wonderful things you have. Things that are meaningful to you, things that you care about, your health, your family, your friends. So whenever you feel down and out, write it down. Why are you grateful? What is your purpose? And I truly believe that's what's kept me feeling young and vibrant. And I'm still in the business. 40 years I've been doing this and I love it. And now I have this new experience helping women. I have a new magazine called Fit Over 50. And I really am focused on women over 50 because we have a lot of different issues as we grow older, but you can still get healthy and it doesn't take that much. And every little bit counts. And that's why I do these little toning things, tightening up your tummy during the day, squeezing your buttocks right now, tighten up that tushy. Yes, yes. If you rest, you'll rust. So stay healthy, stay fit, and really, truly try your best when it comes to getting up off that couch, because it really will help your circulation and the oxygen. Oxygen is the key for energy. And the best way to get it is through movement. Muscles need the energy in there and the oxygen. And that's how you're getting the energy to get to your brain to help you feel better, become more alert. And that is the key too in all of us, because we get kind of tired and then we overeat because we need a little bit of something. So that way I do eat 3 meals a day. I never skip a meal. I truly believe in eating meals. I eat good food, everybody. I have my drinks in the night when I want, a glass of wine. So it is in moderation. I truly believe in balance because that's what keeps me going all these years. So I thought I'd open it up to anyone who has any fitness, health, relationship, whatever questions you may have. I am open. We're here as women together. We can talk. This is what we do. We care about each other. And my mission is to help women out there feel good about themselves, because that's the key, to feel good inside. And any questions out there?
Awesome. Denise, you are truly fantastic. Your energy, 65 years old,
Yes.
I'm not sure that I believe it. That is amazing. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. We actually do have a question in the chat for you. It says, Denise, what is your opinion about the role of hormone balance in weight gain and dealing with aging when you are postmenopausal? Do you have any recommendation regarding hormone replacement therapy?
Yes. Well, I want you to know that I never did anything. I just got through it. I never took any pills. I never did hormonal replacement. I just kept exercising. I kept eating good foods. I truly got through it in a way. And I understand that it's important. Every woman is different. So I have 4 sisters and they all did different things. So please, it's up to you and your healthcare provider to discuss it. I'm not a doctor. So this is up to you and your doctor, healthcare provider. But people ask me what I've done and I truly just got through it. And I do believe that exercise and walking gives you really good energy and you will get through it. And I totally understand. I've been there.
Awesome. Well, you're getting lots of kudos that you look amazing. Some thank yous for all of the tips, especially the squeezing while you're working on your laptop.
I learned isometric exercises like that from my mentor, Jack LaLanne. I don't know if any of you remember Jack, but he was on TV and he gave me my first start in 1981 on television. So he always believed in the isometrics, good posture, tighten up your abs. So 40 years I've been doing that. And I truly believe that helps and it works because muscles are really important. If you have nice muscle tone, nothing will droop or sag. It's the best, kind of fighting gravity ideas that I could give you is muscle conditioning. And it doesn't take that much. I only do 30 minutes, 2 days a week, but it's designated to the muscles. So you can do it. But throughout the day, I'll do like a push up against the kitchen countertop in the morning while I'm waiting for my coffee to brew. So if you move, the more you move, the more calories you burn.
Amazing. There's more kudos coming in the chat for you. Some thank you for everything that you do for Skechers and the friendship walk. Here's a question. Hi, Denise. You mentioned keeping light weights nearby.
Yes.
When you are strength training, should you lift heavier to see better results?
Well, I'm a lightweight because I believe that as you age, you get weak in the different ligaments and tendons near the joints. So I tell people to start really light because when you do a shoulder raise like this, I don't want your shoulder if it's not strong enough to take a heavy weight. So I always tell people start off with 3-pound weights. I love 3 pounds. Then I graduate. Some muscles work better with 5 pounds than 8 pounds, but I'm not into really heavy weights because I want to protect my joints for life. So I do a little more reps with a little less weight. But it's up to you too, because if your joints are strong, you can do it. But it's all in your joints. So you got to strengthen the muscles surrounding your joints. So that's why weight training is so great. And it's so important for women because we get osteoporosis. And one of the best ways is weight-bearing exercise, walking, weight training. So we really need to fight that. And also good posture helps your upper back. Here's my favorite one for posture. Anytime you are sitting there at a desk, place your hands, simple, place your hands behind you, open up your chest, look up, open up through the clavicle. It helps to breathe and it strengthens the muscles around your upper back. So it really helps with improving your posture. Posture is the key. You are your own architect by the way you stand and by the way you sit. Almost imagine a piece of Play-Doh just sitting on a blob, but when you start to shape it and tone it, it becomes a nice figure. You're like that with your body. Imagine that. So pull in your tummy, keep your back strong and straight. Re-educating those muscles to pull in really, really work.
Awesome. Okay, we have time for one more question before we go on to our panel. It is, if you have knee issues, should you do squats?
Okay, I do mini squats. I think mini squats work because it works the thighs without getting too deep in the knee. So I don't know if you'll be able to see me from back here, but I just go halfway and come back up. Go halfway and come back up. But here's my favorite leg exercise. You just lift the leg up and down, sitting in a chair if you want. And that strengthens the muscles surrounding your knee and protects that knee joint. I understand that knees are the key because that's what keeps you walking. So strengthening through easy thigh exercises, just simple leg lifts really work. Just right now, everybody can lift one leg and lift it higher and higher. Do 5 times. You'll feel the muscles surrounding your knee joint getting stronger, and keep those muscles almost protecting your joints.
Awesome. You are a treasure. Thank you so much, Denise. It has been amazing. Someone's asking for your magazine name. We'll make sure we put that in the chat as well as
Over 50. It's
There
out
we go.
today. My spring issue. Yay! It comes out 4 times a year, every season. So it just came out today. I'm really excited.
Fantastic. And congratulations, you ought to be. Really, really great tips. Lots for us to take away, and to really all strive for what we should look like when we get 65 and keep on going. So thank you for inspiring the world, Denise, with your fitness. Your energy is unmatchable, and we look forward. We're going to move on to the panel, but if we say something in panel that you might want to chime in, please join us.
Thank you, Latrice. You're adorable. It's so fun to work with you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Everyone, I know folks can't see you, but you're getting lots of love. When you get a chance, take a look in the chat. Lots of love there for you.
Thank you, honey. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
Stay fit and healthy because you are worth it.
I love it. Thank you. Well, now we get an opportunity to transition. There is a quote that I found today that says, "Where there are women, there is magic." And I believe that fully and wholeheartedly. I get a chance to now have a conversation, and I hope that you guys will join us in the chat if you have questions for any of these 4 women that are coming up. Tanya Monaghan is the first person that I will introduce and ask if she'll join me on video and come off mute as well. She's a social influencer and deputy editor of the Southbay magazine. Tanya is a fashion stylist, a style influencer, an editor, and a writer. For more than 20 years, she's worked with international publications such as GQ and InStyle magazine. She, for a while, lived in South Africa with her husband and her 3 children. She has a style blog, which I was on just the other day, which is fantastic, called Kaya Girls. Welcome, Tanya. I'm so excited to hear from you today.
Oh, thank you, Latrice. Thank you. I'm very honored to be here.
Great. The next women we want to ask if they will please join us and come off camera is Peilin Pratt. Pailene is the founder and principal at Peilin Pratt Advisory Group. She started her career as a corporate attorney working with mergers and acquisitions at one of the largest firms in the world. She then moved into the world of entertainment and helped negotiate talent deals for scripted television. And many of us will know her. This was one of my favorite places, and I didn't know it was hers until I had a chance to talk with her. She had a candy distribution company. It was bi-coastal, but it was right there in El Segundo. She and her husband built that to over $15 million e-commerce. Her advisory company handles projects like business services, project management, contract negotiation, and legal services. Pailene, good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. So glad to be here.
Thank you. Jennifer Clay. Jen, as I will call her today, is the VP of Corporate Communications and Marketing at Skechers. In her position, she oversees the company's global public relations efforts and marketing budget and strategy for the company's subsidiaries and joint ventures, joint venture countries across the Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific region. She joined Skechers in 1998, and she helped the company, assisted the company in going public in 1999. Also directed PR efforts for several Skechers ambassadors, including Christina Aguilera, Camila Cabello, and Sugar Ray Leonard, who, if you've been to any of the walks, many of them are there in person. She also manages the giving arm of the Bob's program, which is the charitable Bob's program. And so, Jen, hello. So good to see you. Lovely as ever. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Malissia Clinton. Malissia is the Senior Vice President, General Counsel, and Secretary at Aerospace Corporation. She assumed her position in October of 2009 and 2009. Her responsibilities include providing legal advice and counsel at the senior management level, managing corporate transactions of the Board of Trustees and its committees, and maintaining custody of corporate records. Before joining Aerospace, she was a senior counsel for special projects in the Office of the General Counsel at Northrop Grumman Corporation. Jen also has a TED Talk. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Many in the South Bay area may have, and a powerful, powerful story of breaking barriers. And so all of the women online today, Malissia, thank you so much. It is a pleasure to see you. Good afternoon to you all. And we would love to just jump on in. And I'll open this question actually up for anyone. And for the audience, if you guys have questions as we're going through questions or want to learn more, the chat is open for you. Both myself and Carolina are watching it, so we can always double back if we miss something, or you might want to say a special hello or send a message to one of the panelists. We'd love to engage all of you. We have lots already in the chat saying welcome, ladies. All right, who is a phenomenal woman? And describe what the phrase means to you. Our day is all about phenomenal women. So I'd love to just kick that off. Anybody want to jump in? Who is a phenomenal woman? Hi, Jen, sure.
Hi, thank you, thank you. So I thought a lot about this question, and it's interesting that, and poignant that you started with the Dr. Maya Angelou quote because of her poem. And I think every woman who walks into a room as cool as they can be and who doesn't bow her head or jump about or talk real loud, and those are all from that poem, Phenomenal Women, are phenomenal women. So thinking about these women, not just Frida on my shirt, but to me, it's Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who with the utmost grace and character sat through questioning designed to tear her down. It's RBG, who was, though small in stature, was mighty in her words and mission, and also rose above. And those who remember Judy Blume, who wrote about periods when no one else did, but also the countless women who wrote messages of Me Too on a sign or shouted the words at marches. And also Naomi Osaka and Simone Biles, who stood up for their own mental health when others didn't. So all those women are ones we know their names, but to me, phenomenal women is everybody who's listening today, who's walked into a room or sat at a table of all men, and have really held their own when they have been dismissed or not asked to share their work, and who have also spoken up for themselves and shared their knowledge and did it again and again, finally earning that respect they should have been given. So I think not just the panelists and Denise, Latrice, of course you, but every woman on this panel is a phenomenal woman.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you. That is a perfect way to start. Perfect. Lots of claps coming through the chat. I agree. I love what you shared and how, when I think of a day like today, just for us to be able to be in conversation with each other, to support one another and let us each one know that we're not alone is so special, so important. Anyone else want to chime in on phenomenal women?
I think I just have a short definition, which is just women or people, phenomenal women are women who are just on a journey, searching to, on a search that are just hungry and seeking to strive and find their God-given gifts and to use those gifts to bless their family, to bless their workplace, to bless their community. So I don't see life as, a destination to reach, but just this continual journey. And if we are trying to do better, if we are trying to search for our purpose and we continue with that journey, that's pretty phenomenal to me.
Great. Agreed. I love that. Using your gift to bless others, being on a continual journey. I love that. Anyone else want to chime in on phenomenal women?
Yeah, mine also, also just short and concise. When I also was thinking about who is this woman, I think Jen gave some amazing examples of women, phenomenal women. And it was you brought up the Maya Angelou, that poem, and she actually was the first person that came to my mind For me, a phenomenal woman is a woman who just uses her voice to inspire and lift up others. And she's a fighter, but she's also a lover. So it's like, it's how those two come together. And for me, Maya Angelou's words, they're just so many, and I find them so wise and so strong and inspiring. I just think she's just she's a genius, but I think she just left an indelible mark on this world. And she's definitely, I would say, the perfect representation of a phenomenal woman, as well as all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tanya. I agree. Maya Angelou is absolutely my favorite poet, author, so many things. So if I could, I would love to transition a little bit to just talk a little bit about your careers. As we think about ways that you use what you have, Jen really laid it out well in talking about the things that women are facing, the things that we've got to face every single day, the conversations or the feelings that you may feel in situations that no one will know about, or the times that you are the only woman in a room, or you are the only woman that looks like you in a room, be it because of your skin color or your ethnicity or your hair or whatever that might be. I'd love to hear some thoughts about how you've used your power, how you take that in, make it purposeful, and then you've been able to position yourself to where you are today. Anyone have some thoughts on that? Using your purpose and your power to really get in position.
Well, I can go. I think it's okay not to know your purpose right away. I think people give themselves a lot of pressure. Like, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to do? I'm 48 years old. I feel like I just found my purpose. So it could be a very long process. But what I love about coming to this purpose is it took a while. It took many years of being in the workplace. It took many different jobs, being in different industries. And for me, when I joined Candy Warehouse to grow the company with my husband, I really found a love for small business and entrepreneurs. And I remember talking to an entrepreneur who sent me an email one day, and he said, nobody quite understands the height of the highs or the depths of the lows when you're an entrepreneur. And I just started crying. I still get emotional thinking about it. So I found a real passion for small business and entrepreneurship. And then I thought, wow, we sold our company 2 years ago. And so I'm in this space of transition in my life. And I thought, okay, I've done legal, I've done entertainment, I've run a small business. And one of the things that I always struggled with growing up and throughout my adulthood is, I'm jack of all trades, but master of none. Like, I can do a little here and I can do that and I can do everything pretty well. But, I just wish I were like just this amazing, engineer, this amazing concert pianist. And it isn't until recently that I coined what I am, which I'm an expert generalist. And it's very empowering. And I can go into a business and say, I can take a look at that contract, or I can, help move your company because I've done it 3 times. And I've embraced that, which is so great because it literally took a weakness that I thought that I had for all these years. And it is my purpose now. It is my strength. Being able to go into a space and know a lot about how to run a company. And so it's blew my mind, like eye-opening, that something that I thought was a negative for all these years is now who I identify as. So it's great. And I always think about the story of the stag and the antler at the pool, where, the stag is, admiring the antlers, and, then he's chased by a hunter, and the antlers are what, gets him caught in the trees. And it's his thin legs that is, something he never admired that actually got him, saved his life. So it's a journey. And I think so long as we're on that journey, it'll come. But we have to continue to search for it. We have to take opportunities. We have to be aware and open advice and to feedback from friends and family, and be willing to take risks.
Love that. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the permission that was in there, that it is okay if it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
For some reason, we can get stuck there. And some of it is cultural, that we have certain things, you go to school, then you go to college, then you get married, then you have a kid, then that has just come along with us across the years. But I appreciate that, Pailene. Thank you for sharing that it took a while and it is okay. That is a continual journey. I'm going to take that with me. Thank you. Anyone else? Purpose and power that helped you to land the position that you're in today.
I wouldn't say, I can comment, I guess. I wouldn't say purpose and power so much as to bring up Judge Katani Brown Jackson's word that she said in her hearings last week that really resonated with me. And I've said it every morning, Denise, when I do yoga every morning. At the end of my class, I say persevere.
Persevere.
And perseverance. And it really choked me up when I heard her say, of course, her story was powerful, as the entire procedure was, but hearing that word and saying it every morning and thinking about how every day you go to work and you, depending upon your day and in life, that you persevere in through whatever challenges those might be. I looked up the definition so many times too. Those challenges might be, and that it's okay. It's like Pailin said, it's a journey. And when the day isn't going quite right, that's okay. Have this, other people are in the same boat and go through it. So for me, it's the other P, and that's persevere.
I love that. I love that. I too, as I was watching that and listening to that story and having been in a situation very similar in a city, and for someone to lean over and to say persevere, it really did strike a chord. With this whole trial with her has definitely been interesting to watch and very motivating just in watching her grace and her candor.
It's a word I think we should share with others as often as we can, other women.
Agreed.
Yeah, in line with what Jennifer just said, for whatever reason, my motto this year has just been, and I tell my friends, whenever they have an idea or an inkling to do something, I said, just play it out, see it through. What could happen, but either nothing or something really great. So
right.
The other P.
Play it out. The other P.
Yeah.
Play it out. I love that. Excellent. I want to transition to a different topic, children. Anyone willing to just share ways that you are teaching your children how to embrace and to celebrate themselves and differences in others?
I can go ahead.
I will take that one. First of all, Pailene, I wanted to say you do not look 48 years old. So when you look the way you look, yeah, you can find yourself at 48 and still feel good. You literally look 20 years younger. I'm so impressed. I think you've constantly got to be in your children's ear, even when they don't want to hear you. We all know that. I've got two. One just graduated from college. One is a sophomore in college. And then I've got a 16-year-old at Miracosta who's a junior. And someone told me once, and I think it's just phenomenal, that I'm not really there to be their friend, although I want to be their friend, but I'm not really there to be their friend. So I think how you help children with their diversity and who they are is to be the adult, the one who's got the wisdom, to give them permission to claim who they are. They don't necessarily get that at school, and that's quite natural. They're young, they're easily influenced, and they want to be liked and they want to be popular. And to Paylene's point, they're still trying to figure out who they are. I always say you spend a lifetime getting to know yourself. You're not born knowing. People think you know yourself, but when they discover something about you, like that you get hangry. I remember discovering that I get hangry like I was in my 40s, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just need to eat. So I think we're all continuous learners, and so are our babies. And what I always try to do with my children is just really put out there the things that I knew some were going to say were disadvantageous, like the color of their skin, maybe where they lived, all that kind of stuff. And then flip it for them, because in fact, that's what I did, I think, for myself. I just literally flipped it. And what you do that I think is the most powerful thing is to honestly embrace it and understand how special you are. And then it's funny how you start looking at the world and how you start looking at people who might look down on you, because all of a sudden they're kind of small and dumb and irrelevant. But you really have to dig underneath it, flip, examine it, unearth it, examine it, and then put your identity in its rightful place. Because if you're feeling bad about yourself in any way, it is not in its rightful place. Someone has told you a lie. That is just point blank, period. If it's your weight, if it's your color, if it's the way you look and you're feeling bad, it's because someone told you a lie. They told you you were supposed to look like, that chick over there or that guy over there. And so to me, that's given to you as a challenge to redefine the platform you're given. And I think kids are particularly vulnerable to that. And it's frankly our collective responsibility, because we know more. We're supposed to know more. Sometimes we don't, but it's our collective responsibility to help them redefine it.
Malissia, thank you so much. I love you said you spend a lifetime getting to know yourself. And I think it's, I'm doubling back on that permission again, that sometimes folks feel like, oh, I'm fill in the blank years old and I ought to be able to do this or that, or I should be able to, why don't I have? And it's a looking, you said someone told you a lie. I think a lot of us have been told lies that we haven't identified as such, and then made some different decisions about them or thought about how to go about it. So that is really fantastic, being able to help your children to do that. That's really, really commendable. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh,
Sorry,
Tanya,
yes.
Hi,
Yes. I also want to say, I just found everything that Malissia said really, really profound. I also feel like just the whole idea of parenting, sometimes I feel like I'm parenting on an island where, exactly like she said, we're not trying to be our kids' best friends. I mean, of course, we want to have good relationships with them, but they really do need guidance, especially in the world that we're living in now. It is just, it's so complicated. There's so much more than we have to deal with. They need guidance through this. And then add in COVID and, all the challenges that they faced in the past few years, So I really, I echo everything she said. I thought that was very, very profound. Thank you, Malissia. In answer to that question for me and my children, and how we celebrate and embrace differences, not even just amongst them, within themselves, but with others, is I also think by leading by example. I think we can all say whatever we want to our kids. They might not hear all of our words, but they do remember the things you do. And it's all about, walking the talk. And, whether that means like being inclusive, being active in your community, being inclusive, bring, diversity into your home, respect other people's point of views, model that behavior. And the more that you do that, then it sinks in. That's who they become. And I just going through life, I just think it's really important to, look at it through a view of inclusion and actively seek out different points of view, because I mean, to be honest, we do live in a bit of a bubble here. And I think another way where, we are lucky, I think if you have the means to travel, I think that's also another way to expose your children to different cultures. It's a fantastic way to educate them and give them a different perspective. I think you did mention I'm from South Africa. My family's from South Africa. My husband is South African. And so our children have been lucky enough to go there many times. And in fact, 2 of them were born there. And we have a lot of family there. So they also gain a different perspective of what life is like there, and seeing people with so much less, the poverty, the racism, there's so much, and exposing your children to that and helping them understand iniquity when they see it and to talk about it. I think communication is just very, very important with our children. And I think our generation is just doing a much better job at that. And, I think children can sometimes be our biggest teachers because they just see things, with fresh eyes and say things that you're like, oh, that's so profound. And I think honoring also just the way that they think, and guiding them when maybe that is maybe wrong. But communication, I think, having these conversations, asking them how they feel about things is really important. And that forward thinking is what kind of brings about change. So just like walking that talk and making them feel heard and seen. And I firmly believe also that just true joy comes in, the service of others, like getting your kids involved in service at a young age and feeling that joy of what it is to give and to help others. We are also, we have a diverse family. And so my kids are also just have a different perspective, and, we appreciate, all these our beautiful family, but we're not blind to the challenges that go along with that, And so it's just, even with our own dynamic with, I have a daughter and 2 boys, like the boys are shown, like, you respect your sister, women are equal. And that too, like, our boys will always treat their sister with respect, and that our children know that they shouldn't be limited by gender or by anything else. Like, they need to take opportunities and just go forth life, helping others in a kind way.
Excellent. So much good stuff to unpack there. I love it. Just leading by example, honoring the way that your kids think. I, of course, am in community, so hearing the joy of serving others really always brings a smile to my heart as well. But thank you, Tanya. Hi, Jen.
Hi. Yeah, I guess just to kind of echo what Tanya was saying, I'm a single mom to a college age boy. And for me, it was utmost importance to have him to learn to respect women, and to see women strong and powerful. And yes, he sometimes calls me a badass, but that's okay. And when he got a job this past year at his Title IX office at his college, I couldn't have been more proud to be helping women. Yep.
Fantastic. Great job. That's awesome. Excellent. Okay, I want to thank you all for sharing on the topic of children. I want to transition just a little bit to talk about implicit bias. If anybody would be willing to share a time, and it could be at work, it could be with family, whichever, that you face implicit bias and the way that you addressed it. How did you deal with it? Anybody want to take that?
I have a funny story, not in the workplace, but there was an interesting, this was, many years ago. I was at lunch with my brother and my husband, and we were at lunch, one Sunday after church, and my husband was a little distracted, a little, down, and he said something like, I really, really wanted to, talk to Paul, but Paul just didn't seem that interested in talking to me. And then as an afterthought, he kind of thought, is it because I'm not Asian? And my brother started laughing, and he said, Paul doesn't like to talk to anybody. So I thought that was an interesting insight on how, when we don't immediately connect with someone or maybe click, it's very easy to kind of look at our differences, especially the ones that are very, observable, and kind of be able to explain it quickly why we don't connect, whether we're different genders, different socioeconomic class, all those observable things that, are very easy to explain. And I just thought it was so funny that my brother, who is Asian, was like, well, Paul doesn't like to talk to anybody. And so I think that implicit bias is, gosh, it's so, it pervades in every interaction we have. Implicit bias may not always be a bad thing. I mean, I think sometimes it's about survival. It's about knowing, what's safe, what's not, teaching our kids, to make judgment calls. But because we are so unaware of it, I think it's very helpful to talk to people, to air out those concerns. And a lot of times you'll realize, it's not what you thought it was.
Yeah, I didn't think of this one, Pailene, until you said that. Just a couple of days ago, a neighbor was complaining about a local restaurant. I'm not going to name it because then I'll get in trouble, but it's a very, very popular local restaurant that she was there with her 2 kids. And by the way, she's blonde and blue-eyed, and so are her kids. Super platinum blonde, naturally, beautiful person. And how crappy the service was, that it took her, she sat there and she was sort of in a corner, and so they didn't see her. And an hour later, and it's her parents' favorite restaurant, and they're there all the time and they get good service. And she's like, I just feel so bad. I'm still so upset about it. I'm just really upset. And so she wanted to unload, and we talked about it. But I told her, I said, it's interesting. If that had been me, I would have assumed it was because I was Black. Period. Point blank. No question. None. I would have assumed it was because I was Black and that a person like you was going to get good service. And so I said, you just reminded me what implicit bias is all about. Because in that instance, it's my bias, right? It's my assumption that every time I get bad service, someone is looking at the color of my skin, assuming I don't belong in this community, as opposed to I've been a resident for 20 years, blah, 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 blah. So again, back to the whole continuous learner thing, that was a teaching moment that she didn't even intend to give me, but I picked up, I certainly got the message. I really did.
Well, and as women, look, I will be very vulnerable. And I met a friend, 2 years ago, and our kids were in a class together, and she's beautiful and thin and just perfect looking. And of course, what do I think? Oh, she is not very nice. Like, she's probably just stuck up, looks down at me because, I don't have makeup on and I look like a hot mess when I drop off my kids at school. And you know what? She is the nicest person who has social anxiety. And I said, I'm so sorry. Like, you're just so beautiful and so everything. Like, I just thought you were, just stuck up. And so that implicit bias is, it's through everyday interactions with people. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one to address.
That's good. Great examples. And it's a switch from what we normally hear, right?
Yeah.
From what the stories that are normally shared. And I know that there are plenty of those as well.
Yes.
But I think, as you both pointed out, being able to air your concerns, but being able to have folks around you that you can be completely open with, that you can be vulnerable with, that you can, like Malissia said, her friend wanted to talk with her to air it out. She wanted to talk it out.
Yeah.
And so by doing that, that's super healthy, because she won't stop going to the restaurant. If she didn't talk about it, she would be like, forget it. And they will get not another dime from me. But to be able to reach out to a friend and say, hey, this is what happened, and be able to hear some, feedback on it. And sometimes we might be dead on, and sometimes we might be dead wrong. But to be able to have that network of people that is close, that does get the opportunity to hear your truth, because not everyone should get the opportunity to hear you, uncovered, laid bare, because not everyone will take care of you the way that you will, or the way that someone loves you will.
Well, I have
And so,
one more thing to add, Latrice,
yeah,
on the
please,
implicit bias. That as I was thinking about it, what I think is interesting, like you said, we kind of turn it on its head. But of course, it is very difficult to be the receiver of implicit bias. But I actually, as I was thinking about it, when we have implicit bias, we actually hurt ourselves, right? Because I made an assumption about someone, so I didn't take the time to get to know her, right? Or if Melissa felt that about the restaurant, like maybe she would have never gone. And so it's interesting how implicit bias is negative to both the person with the bias and the receiver of the bias. It was an interesting thought to go, oh, wow, I'm actually really hurt by it myself when I have implicit bias.
Indeed, indeed. And I think, something we can all take away is to make a decision about that. When I feel a certain way, or I feel, or so, the teams say some kind of way about something that's happening, would we then make a decision within ourselves to say, you know what, I'm going to lean in here just a little bit more, and I'm going to go back and ask the question, did you mean to say this, or this is what I heard you say? Is that what you were trying to say? Or figuring out some different phrases that we can go, or you know what? I don't know you at all. I'd love to get a chance to spend some time with you just to see more, just so I can get to learn who are you? What is your background? Where do you come from? How do you learn? How did you grow up? How did you get to the position you're in? There's so many questions that I think if we would slow down a bit and be a bit more mindful, to just spend time with each other, it would really help. And I dare say that would be the same at our workplace as well, or even and in our families, in our community, with our neighbors, to just take a moment and just go grab a coffee, or while they're sitting out, having lunch, or, inviting someone to lunch, whatever way it may work for you. But that might be something we could all take away. So great, Payleen and Melissa. Thank you so much, Tanya. Thank you so much. Okay, can we talk about the workplace just a little bit? Or actually not only work. Can you, anyone want to share with me or share with the group how you support women? And maybe that's women in the workplace, maybe that's women in your community, maybe that's women in your family. I'd love to open that up.
I can go ahead.
Okay.
Well, was specifically to the workplace?
It doesn't have to be. Initially, I was thinking for the workplace, but if we've got 200 folks on the call, some may be in workplace, some may be retired, some may just be beginning a new family. We know there's no way to know what station we are meeting folks at, and so let's not limit it. Let's open it up. How do you support women?
Well, I love supporting women, and I specifically, actually, with what I do, in the workplace, I always look for opportunities to put women forward, and whether that's telling a story about them in the magazine, celebrating a woman in a fashion shoot, or featuring and supporting her on my Instagram feed. Like the big thing on my Instagram is supporting small businesses within our community. That is huge for me. Like what Pailene was saying too is small businesses, entrepreneurs. I find women entrepreneurs super, super inspiring. And I think it's just a very important voice to get out there. And I really look for those stories and ways to kind of make them the heroes of the story, to uplift and empower. And I think because I am a woman, I think that also plays in a unique perspective just in terms of my writing and kind of offering something a little bit more unique. And I also try to also look for diversity amongst like the stories that I share. So whether that is for like LGBTQ community, women, disadvantaged, all that, those are the stories that I really, really, really love to share. I think they're so important. And I think it's creating a space where stories can be seen and heard. And I think stories are just so much they connect people. And especially when you're telling stories about people within the community, it really helps to break down barriers, because somehow through someone, they know this person. And it just helps to kind of break down these like, oh, that person's over here, I'm over here. There is so much that goes on in our own community that I think people aren't aware of. And I try to make women the heroes and showcase all the struggles that they go through, because really at the end of the day, it's not an easy path. Women need to know that it's harder. We oftentimes have to fight harder to get where we are. But like what you were saying, Latrice, you're not alone. And that's where I just feel like it is possible. And you need not feel alone, because all of us have gotten to where we are by fighting. I mean, I'm sure all had different sorts of obstacles in our life, but it's just that perseverance, which was also brought up, but also just that you're not alone.
Fantastic. That is so great. So powerful that you have the position that you have that has a global reach, and that you are looking for ways to continue to include women in so many different ways. That's powerful. Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
I'll go.
Okay.
So yeah, outside the workplace, I'm very happy that I'm now volunteering with an organization called Right Girl. That's with a W. And it is a writing workshop for teens. And it started just in Los Angeles for LA-based young women. I think it's 13 to 18 in high school. And now it's actually going global because of the internet. But if anybody's interested, I have a beautiful young woman who lives in Carson that I'm mentoring on writing. So we meet every week. So it feels really good to support with my skills. Anybody want to know, put it in the chat and we'll get your information. At the workplace though, I think real quick to talk about something I'm really bad at and something I think I'm really good at. So the thing I'm really bad at is work-life balance. And I think Denise talked about it. And I heard Stacey Abrams on a podcast call it work-life Jenga, not balance, that there really is no such thing as work-life balance, right? So as a single mom, my son born in 2000, being here more than 20 years, it was a real struggle to find that balance and find a way to be present for him and to be present for my job. And I 100% think I did this to myself, that I had to really prove myself being a woman and being a mother and, you know, work harder than the guy next to me or than anybody else, so that nobody would ever think that I'm, you know, slacking on the job. And I think a lot of that really was me and not something to do with the company, that I had to prove it for me and prove it to my bosses. So I'm not so good at it, but I'm really trying to drive that home with my team and with other women in the company, that, you know, we don't have to be that, show that and prove that to know that you're doing a good job. And I know the women on here who are listening, who are on my team, understand that it is okay to take a week off for spring break, and you don't have to answer emails at 7 a.m. or 9 or 10 o'clock at night. If something is an emergency, okay, but often it's not. You know, you really need to be present for your family in order to be mentally strong and to come and do a good job at work and not get burnt out. So I'm doing better, I'm delegating, but I would also, you know, think it's so important for women to understand that they really don't have to prove themselves just because they're a woman and being a mother or not being a mother. And the thing that I think I'm better at is talking loud and gesticulating with my hands and speaking up in meetings. And I try very hard, did it this morning on a call at 8:30 to say, you got this, and to hand it over to somebody else on my team, females, always giving them the opportunity to share their voice, to take control, to not be the one that's in control, even though I'm really good at this. There's other people who are just as good at that. And that's why they're on the team, is because we're phenomenal women. So.
What I have learned, again, I think it comes with time and age, is that what I've learned is how do I connect and lift up other women is actually being very open about my weaknesses. And so, I got this analogy, like no one ever bonds over, oh, I got this award and I did this and I accomplished that. I mean, if you're just sitting there, praising yourself or trying to show each other, one up, there's no bonding, there's no connection. I actually just had lunch with someone, pretty new, a new friend. And she was talking about her practice, and she kind of leaned in and whispered to, she said, I haven't really said this, to many people, but, I didn't pass the California State Bar the first time. And I said, me neither. And she just laughed, and I could just tell this like level of, like stress and burden off her shoulders. And I think as women, we want to show that we're so strong and we're so capable, and we are. But I think we connect when we can show our vulnerability and our weakness, and support each other and say, yes, I look like I have it all together, but, I just had a fight with my husband, this morning, or, I forgot to pick up my kid yesterday. And what I realize more often than not, you trigger oh, wow, I did that too. Or really, you were nervous, or, oh, you messed up on that. And it's, again, like you said, Latrice, giving other women, especially in the workplace, permission to show that, they're nervous or they're unsure, or they don't know what they're doing, because that's where you start to learn. I mean, if you're always, on top of it and exactly what you're doing, there is no learning trajectory.
Yeah, can I add on, and then Latrice, I know you're going to do an amazing summary.
Yeah.
I'll just fill in a couple things. I think when you're a female leader, and just sort of encompassing everything that was said, because it checked all the boxes of things I would have said. I had a young lady, a younger attorney who's got childcare issues, learning disabilities with her son, and she's trying to work full time, and the son's at home because of COVID. And she was on the verge of quitting or having a nervous breakdown. And when I pulled her aside, it occurred to me, and I told her, I said, you can't quit because you work for two women. There's a woman beneath me and there's me. We can't let you quit over something like that. Are you kidding? We literally can't let you quit over something like that, because that's what I'm supposedly here for. I'm supposed to give breath to what you're dealing with, because I've been there. And you're struggling with work-life balance, so you're not going to quit. I'm not going to let you. We're going to go fix the work-life balance piece. I'm going to give you two options, and you're going to help me with more. You can work less hours. It's going to mean less money, but it will mean less stress. And you're going to tell me how many less you want to work. And you're going to pitch me why you should only make a little less money. And if you're smart, you won't do it straight line, right? Because we all know that when you work part-time, you actually work more hours. So you're going to pitch me on why you should get more than just a straight line reduction. But at the same time, tell me what would make sense for you. And you're going to always have the option to go back full time. And then if you work full time, we're going to curate a better schedule. But my point is, it didn't strike me that I needed to have that conversation until I was having that conversation and realizing the pressure she was under, because I think we've all picked up this work-life balance thread, and that I'm not a dude. I can't let that happen on my watch, knowing I've been where she's been. That's what I think being a woman in the workplace is supposed to mean. And then the only other thing I will say is, but I've seen women do leadership so horribly, so embarrassing. And I've been on the receiving end of some of the worst female bosses who got into that ivory tower, pulled up the drawbridge, forgot their gender, forgot how hard it was, and intentionally wouldn't help you because they're so used to being surrounded by men, I think, and all that comes with it, and the fame and the fortune. So I would just remind us not to forget that there are women who do that still today. Lots of them do that. And what that told me when I wasn't a leader is I never wanted to be like her. I will never, ever be like her. I know what it feels like. And that's a really insecure, bad leader. And I want to be a good leader. And I can see right through her. If she was as successful as she looked to me, she wouldn't be doing that, right? She wouldn't be worried about little old me. So I think it's important as a leader that you remember, because I bet we all have those stories, what it was like to work with a female and just have the worst experience of your life. And I think that teaches you what not to do. So it's there for a reason. Again, it's curated just for you. It's there to make you a better leader later.
I love it. Not on my watch. Woo! Excellent. I love that. It is hats off to you, Malissia, for having that conversation, for really making it very clear, giving her some direction. And there was a question that actually came up, so it's almost right on cue. So I don't know if you saw it as well, but someone asked, how do you think that we can help others to achieve work-life balance and professional success? And I think that is cookie cutter of just a perfect example of what can be done. And it definitely, I'm sure it took vulnerability. I'm sure it took just compassion, to be able to have that conversation, humility on the end of the young woman that you were talking to be able to feel comfortable enough to tell you all of what was happening. But one of the pieces that I was saying, hats off to you, is you saw it, recognized it, and called her to have the conversation, however it came about. And so many folks have been in similar situation, or maybe know of someone that might be struggling, but I don't know that they've stepped up to the plate in exactly the same way. So glad that you helped her. She will never forget you. I know that for certain. But just that really is a mark of great leadership, not just being somebody's boss, but to be able to be a great leader and really help them to transition to next places in life. So much good stuff in that. Thank you guys, just for sharing that. Really, really exciting. I'm trying to keep up with time. Caroline is going to buzz me in a minute and tell me. But it is really, really fantastic. I'm trying to watch the chat to make sure if there are questions that I'm not missing. I have a question actually for you all, is how can women position themselves to get high profile assignments? As you're thinking in the workplace, if you are in, I am in finance. No, I'm not sure of the mix that's on the line, but I know sometimes folks have felt, overwhelmed or overlooked in positions. They've hired someone in, the person is doing the exact same job that I'm doing. They're getting paid X amount more than I am. And then to stay in that place, to keep your face on, to not fall down the stairs of disappointment, discouragement, bitterness, pulling up the resume to walk out of the door. How has anyone experienced that or a similar situation? And then how have you worked your way through it and been able to, get to new position? It's open for anyone that'd like to share.
I'll go, I guess. I was listening to this podcast about ageism, which I thought was really interesting, being on the older end of it, and talking about the different generations and how they approach such topics. And, the younger generations are very vocal and willing to step up and put themselves out there. And older generations are more like head down, afraid to speak up. And I think, one of the reasons why maybe I'm a success here and others, I think, is because they have that confidence to be able to speak up and to say what they want and where they want to go, and have those conversations with me or with other people within this company. Because, if you don't, that guy or that person, whoever that is over there, is going to. So to have to find your voice and not be afraid of your voice and know that you've got this and you have the confidence to do it. And maybe it doesn't go right the first time, but keep at it. Like, you deserve it, put your foot in the door and say it. I mean, I say it to my son too, be persistent, persistent, persistent. And it, you know, it's tough out there for younger people, but also I think that they have this advantage of, you know, they're used to being able to speak up, and we don't. We have our heads down, me too. But I think that's, for me, what I respect in other people is having that voice. And if they don't feel comfortable with that voice, having the conversation to allow them to have that voice.
Excellent. Excellent.
I have a couple that I would add on to that.
Sure,
Just to this person trying to level up, Latrice, I think you said, or, you know, either, so if they're disadvantaged and there's a peer in their network, I think one scenario is there's a peer in their network who's making more money doing the exact same job. And there's nothing that's demoralizing like that. The nuclear option is to use the recent California equity, I forget what it's called, but it's basically an equity law that allows you to look at salary and say, what are they making and why aren't I making the same? I'm doing the same job. I actually don't necessarily propose you do that first, because there's a lot of ways people can get you out of a company, and it's not just the you know, direct attack, there's indirect attacks, and they might want to do that if you pull the nuclear option. So tuck that one away. Another one though that I've used is I had a peer get promoted before I did, and I simply went to my boss and said, so why did Jack get promoted, and what is it that I need to do differently? It's funny what happens when you confront people. I mean, because maybe there's something I don't know. He worked in a different division. He worked in a different part of the country. You tell me. But we started the same day. We had the same pedigree. I'm looking at Jack and he got promoted and I didn't. And what I learned also with that is that it's really good to track a peer, particularly a male peer, if there is one, who started around the time, or there's something that's the same. It'll help you a little bit with that pay equity gap to try to keep up if you just start nosing around. And I remember my boss just laughed because I wasn't particularly offensive. I thought it was a legitimate question. I'm giving you the opportunity to tell me what Jack did better than I did, so I can improve and get the promotion Jack got. Just fire away. You know, I got a promotion. And then the other one I've told people is know your consolation prize. And how that one works is if someone's got like a plum assignment, a lot of times it's because they were fed a seed that helped them to get that plum assignment. They've done, you know, XYZ and you haven't, and you needed XYZ skill, but someone gave them that skill. So apply for those skills. And if it's a contest where only a few people get it, here's the kicker. Know what your consolation prize is going to be. So when they say you didn't get the promotion or you're not going to be part of that class because they only had a few, usually the person delivering that message wants to get off the phone or get out of the room right away, because it's not a good time. You look sad, they feel bad, they don't really know how to deliver bad news. And so you know what? They're very vulnerable. So what do? Is you ask for a consolation prize. Can I be in that class next time? Can you do this instead for me? I remember applying for a job and I didn't get it, and I knew I wasn't going to get it. It was several levels above me. And for some reason I was ready, and I said, can you send me to UCLA's executive management program, which was whatever, $20,000 they sent me, because they wanted to get out of the room. So I would say just, know what your consolation prize is. That's another level up kind of thing that can make a big difference. It's where you didn't get what you wanted, but sometimes that executive management program did me a lot of good. So sometimes you get the consolation prize is better than the reward you were trying to seek.
I love it. Excellent. Negotiation.
I have one more thing to add there.
Yeah.
Both ladies talked about kind of working within the system with whatever company they're in terms of speaking up. And, I do think there are situations where your value or what you can offer may not be seen in that particular environment. And I think that there's also a very important aspect of having the strategy to know what your exit plan is. If you've kind of exhausted all of the other things that, is going to help you, find your voice. And I think that, especially parents who see their kids in different environments. I mean, I hear the story all the time where I changed schools, or he had this different teacher and he blossomed. And I've seen that story with colleagues in the workplace, where one colleague of mine really wanted to stay when I was in the entertainment business and really wanted to stay at CBS, but didn't get his contract extended, and, you know, devastated. We all didn't know why. And then ended up going to ABC and had this amazing career where he was just seen as the superstar. So I think there's also a time, it's very difficult, and I know it's scary, but sometimes understanding this is not the place for me, and they're not going to see the value that I bring, is a reality as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
Amen.
Yeah, exactly right.
I think that is a very important thing to know. Also, just your self-worth. And if you're in a toxic environment, sometimes, you know, speaking up is not enough, and trying to fight the system is not enough. And, you know, I started in the fashion world, which was, it was tough. I mean, it was a revolving door, because it's basically, it's like, how much can you take? I mean, it was, you know, I've dealt with a lot of very, very difficult women that just want to squash you down. And strangely, it was predominantly women. So it's like, we've all faced different sorts of adversity, but also just to know yourself, self-worth, I think, is very important. I think, Malissia, she said that just the practicality of what Malissia said, I think, is so great. I wish I would have known that like 20 years ago. But I do think what Pailene is saying is rings true, is to know, you know, is to know when also it's time to move.
Excellent. Well, time has gotten away from us. It is 1 o'clock already. I feel like I wish we were all having lunch or something. We could just keep on talking. There are a couple of questions I know some folks might have to bounce off. If you would like to stay, we've got 2 questions that did come in the chat. If anyone might like to tackle them or take a quick listen, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up, because we want to respect everyone's time and get us there. But one question says, I often find myself saying, I have no idea how to do this, but I'll figure it out. Can anyone share if they've felt this way, and a figure it out strategy?
I have an analogy where you don't have to know the big picture. I often think to myself, what are the crumbs right in front of me? I mean, what are the first steps that I need to take? Usually you don't have to figure it out. You just need to know, like, what's step 1, 2, and 3. And once you finish those steps, more crumbs will come along. And so I think a lot of times people don't start anything because they don't see the whole picture. They don't know what the game plan is or what the strategy is. But I think oftentimes it's just get going, you know, play it out.
I love that. Play it out. I love that.
Yeah. Sorry, Latrice. Just to build on that, just I think, you know, so a lot of people don't speak up because they're like, oh, I don't know the answer to this. I don't, you know, it's that, like, you want to sound smart every time you open up your mouth. And I think that is where you find your solutions, because there's this real power in humility, just like what we're kind of talking about before, of just being like, hey, I didn't like pass the bar exam that first time, you know, and it's this, you know, it's this shame lifting of like, we don't always have to have the answers. We don't always have to be perfect. And it's just that idea of like, okay, let's bring it to a table. Let's talk about it. Let's all be open-minded, and let's all work hard to find a solution. And sometimes just by opening up that like space for everyone to be like, oh, okay, yeah, no one has an answer, but like, let's figure it out. And that is what promotes change. And that's when beautiful things come together, is giving people that space.
That's right. And I, one more add to that. When you're feeling like, I don't know the answer, gosh, what do? I feel like a fraud or whatever. The image that I want you to bring to mind is a white male who just said yes. He didn't know what the hell he was talking about, but he just, right? We all know that, who just said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do it. Yeah, give me that raise. I don't know. I haven't earned it, but that image really works because it's actually true. I've worked with a lot of them. It's not always true, but it's actually true that they get things because they believe they can, and they just show up. And I think what you need to do to, and it was in the chat, is remember your self-worth. Pailene said it, and just show up. It really will come. I think the problem is we will wait to be fully prepared and miss the train. It's already left. You can forget about it, with the guy who just said he would and didn't know what the heck he was talking about. You have to get on the train. You have to get on the train and have faith in self that you will learn it organically, or someone will present themselves and help you. You're going to get through it. You're going to be just as good, if not better, than your competition, but you have to get on the train.
I love that. Get on the train and play it out. Those two, I might have to get t-shirts made. Fantastic.
Can I add to that, Latrice, real quick?
Of course, yeah.
I agree 100% with what Malissia was just saying, but I also think that it is say yes and you can do it, but also look to your allies, your sisters next to you, whether they're in your workplace or not, to have a far more collaborative environment. Somebody said on here talking about how women not sticking together. I think that I've learned that over time, and I just said this yesterday with a woman. We spent a year or 2 years building a really strong collaborative environment between the two of us. We're all in this together. We should all be sisters together and support one another. If you don't have the answer and can't quite figure it out, look to your sister over there. They're an ally also for you.
Yeah, and to give people don't give themselves permission to be powerful, you know?
Yes.
And whether that is like, when you recognize that, like, we all have the ability to be powerful, and that might be not even just within yourself, but to recognize it in someone else and empowering them, and the whole women sticking together, that multiplies like that. It's always a good thing. It comes back to you in so many ways, you know, instead of the competition.
So true.
I love it. It is so true. It is so true. I love it. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Thank you for your day. I'm going to leave us with a quote. It says, her strength comes from being tested by life's unpredictability. And when I think about women, I think of all that was shared today, all that we have learned from you. Someone in the chat said, can we do this monthly? I agree. That would be great. But so many lessons, takeaways. Persevere has kind of been the phrase that's been ringing across the airwaves lately. Not on my watch. Definitely something I'm taking away. Play it out. Definitely. Again, something that I'm taking away. But I appreciate each and every one of you, Payleen, Jen, Malissia, Tanya, and Denise, still with us. Thank you so much for all that you are doing, really, for our world. It's not just the South Bay. It's not just the United States. So much of the work that you're doing really does touch every corner of the earth. And so we stand in awe. We say thank you. Such a blessing to have been able to get to know you over these past few weeks, to learn about your stories, to learn about the journeys that you are on. And so grateful to sit at your feet today and really hear from your mouths. And learn from the stories that you've gone through. So thank you all. You truly are phenomenal women. And this is a perfect way to end Women's History Month. And so thank you to everyone. Thank you to Robin, to Tamala, who were also, and Carolina, who was on the committee of us pulling this all together. And thank you to our nearly 200 friends that joined us online today to hear and to be inspired. I truly was inspired and empowered by today. So thank you so much. There's our lovely Denise. Thank you, Denise. And we look forward to talking with you all soon. Hopefully next year we will be in person and be able to show off our beautiful outfits and to be able to hopefully see each other in person. So thank you all. And we do wish you all a great afternoon. And truly from us here at the Manhattan Beach Chamber of Commerce. I don't know if David's going to pop back in, but I will close this on out to say we thank you for attending today, panelists, and Denise, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your session.
Thank you, Latrice. Thank you, Take care.
Great panel.
Panelists.
All of you.
You were
Great
awesome.
panel.
Terrific, really fantastic.